speaker is also a candidate for the United States Senate, Mike Sullivan. So everybody give him a warm
We start by just saying thank you. Thank you for the work that you guys are doing on behalf of the Republican Party. Having Republicans at the college level going out there and sharing the Republican values is critically important. I apologize. I only have a short window of time. I have another appointment. I think we're running a little bit late here. So I'm going to give you a quick kind of background in terms of who I am. I really have to hear from you folks in terms of issues and concerns that you have. So let me start with giving you a little bit about my experience. I started my work career after spending 1 year at that other college on Commonwealth Avenue, Boston College. Left BC and went and got a job at the Gillette Company and started on the factory floor at Gillette. I was interested in taking a temporary job and helping to pay for my college education. One of 7 children. My father worked as a lineman at the New England Telephone Company. My mom was pretty much stay at home and worked part-time waitressing. That temporary job turned into a 16-year career at the Gillette Company. Went back and got my undergraduate degree at Boston College and my law degree at Suffolk University Law School. And I worked my way up the ladder at Gillette, from the factory floor to the assistant to the president of the largest division of the Gillette Company. So Gillette gave me some wonderful opportunities. And while I was here, I tried to give wonderful opportunities for others as well. When they had the opportunity, I implemented an adult diploma program. So people on the factory floor would have opportunities that I had. They missed the opportunity of graduating from high school for a range of reasons. So adult diploma gave them an opportunity to complete their high school and go on to college. And also English is a second language. Many people in the factory at Gillette were foreign born. English was not their principal language. So I put in place an English as a second language program to open up opportunities. So education to me has always been critically important. I left Gillette in order to run for the Massachusetts House of Representatives. Thought about public service, something that I've thought about throughout my whole career. And I thought about doing more in terms of contributing to others. And I got elected, re-elected a third time. The first time I ran, I told people I was a term limits guy. I thought that there was some real value in terms of coming from the private sector, serving in elected politics, and taking those experiences that you had in the private sector, share them, hopefully make a place a better place, and then go back in terms of private sector work. So when I ran the third time, I told people I'm going to fulfill my commitment. I got elected a third time. I'm not running for the State House the fourth time. And we got elected the third time. When I was there, I asked to serve on the Education Committee. And while there, we actually transformed education in Massachusetts. We had the Act to Improve Public Education, empowering parents to have a much greater role in terms of the delivery of education in the K-12 public system. Provided for school choice in charter schools that previously had not been provided. We also did criminal justice reform to make people who are committing serious violent crimes accountable and giving victims rights in the process. And on the business side, we transformed workers' compensation, which was a job killer for a lot of businesses. I told you I ran the third time, was planning on leaving, and I was, and then the district attorney in Plymouth County died unexpectedly. Governor Weld and Lieutenant Governor Slucci asked me to take on the position of being district attorney, and I did. And I loved the job as district attorney. It was the position I felt closest to the people I was serving, particularly in the inner city of Brockton, where it was plagued with violent crime. I thought it was basically unfair that I could pull out of my driveway early in the morning in the town right next to the city of Brockton, just a couple miles away from my office in downtown Brockton. And I knew I did not fear for a moment that my kids would be waiting on the corner for the school bus. But just a couple miles away, there were parents that were fearful of leaving their kids on the corner waiting for a bus by themselves. So we worked extremely hard to improve the quality of life in the city of Brockton. I think I would have stayed in that job for a little bit longer. When President Bush asked me if I'd take on the post of the United States Attorney for the District of Massachusetts. And leading up to that, we talked a lot with people in the White House and the Department of Justice about the priorities of the White House and the Department. And share with them some of my priorities as well. And I'll tell you, we never once talked about national security. We never once talked about anti-terrorism, counterterrorism. And then 9/11 happened. I went into the job days after 9/11. And standing here today, I'll tell you, I was ill prepared to take over. It was a world that changed so drastically. Now, leading up to 9/11, we didn't talk about it in terms of the priorities of the Department, of the White House, or the District of Massachusetts. Every day after 9/11, we talked about our anti-terrorism, our national security, our counterterrorism efforts, and the world had changed. It became the highest priority in the Department of Justice. When we stood up an anti-terrorism advisory council, we beefed up the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and I created a national security anti-terrorism division within the United States Attorney's Office. Hadn't been done before. And we had other responsibilities as well, like fraud against government programs. We were able to recover almost $6 billion in the time I served as United States Attorney. This is hard-earned taxpayer dollars that have been wasted for fraud, in many instances by business, in other instances by individuals. We also went after public officials that were corrupt, who were abusing their authorities. Investigated two speakers of the House, both of which were convicted. Members of the legislative bodies, mayors of cities as well, city councilors. I thought it was disgraceful for the people who take an oath of office and essentially abuse the privilege of serving. And then towards the end of President Bush's term, he asked me if I'd take on another post, and that was the director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. So for the last 2.5 years of the administration, I wore two hats, traveling back and forth between Massachusetts and Washington, D.C., and wherever the work of ATF would take me. And served as the director of ATF and the United States Attorney for the District of Massachusetts at the same time. And one of my travels as ATF director, I had the opportunity to visit Baghdad, Iraq, and New York. And after flying in and getting briefed up by General Petraeus on the surge, they safely got us into the green zone. And one of the first people I met in the green zone was a young Marine, second or third tour duty, who was guarding what was once Saddam Hussein's palace, what was now our temporary embassy. And he opened up the door as we were walking out. And I thanked him for his service, and he thanked me. I asked him, how are you doing? And he says, I'm living the dream. And here he is, second or third tour duty, liberating the nation and protecting our national interest, and he's living the dream. As I've thought about this race over the last several weeks, in many ways, I've lived the dream.